Hi guys, this is Ant from the Trades Training School. I'm just going to give you a quick run through a typical bathroom installation. So as you can see, I think this is about day 2 now, and as you can see all the kit is in. There's loads of kit, isn't there, that you acquire in this game. As you can see, all the dust sheets have been put down prior to work commencing, and this is the bathroom. So what you can see is we've ripped everything back, all the old tiles, etc. The actual wall was damp as well, so the old plaster off the walls has been stripped back to the bricks. And at this stage really it's just all about prep, making sure we strip back all the pipe work. There's a dodgy lead connection, and really just getting everything prepped for the next stage, which is running all the pipe work, building the stud work up, etc. There's the stud work. Make sure when you get this stuff, guys, that you go into the timber merchant and you select the nice straight pieces. Right? Don't just order them for delivery, because they'll all be bent, guaranteed. And there's Chris doing a bit of graft. Obviously the fun bit about doing bathrooms is the design process, so making sure or having a play around with colour selection for paint, trims, etc. That's all the fun bits, you know, that you should really enjoy. When you are doing bathroom installations, you will actually plan out your tiling before you do your stud work, so your stud work can be built to match. And also you can do things like centre your mixer valves and things like that. At this stage as well, all the electrics have been done, so you can see there the electrics have been raggled through for the underfloor heater, and a lot of pipe work is run at this stage, and it's really just getting everything prepped, isn't it? Ready for boarding and tiling. I think this is about day 3. See, we've boarded the floor as well. Possibly day 4 this actually. This was quite a complex job. It wasn't your typical bathroom. I would say a typical bathroom takes 2 weeks. This actually took us 3 weeks. This is me now on the solid wall, checking to see, you know, if there's any high points, dips, checking if the wall's plumb before I commence with the boarding, the dot and dabbing. I don't just throw the boards up. You want to check, you know, if you need to put like bigger dabs at the top, smaller dabs at the bottom, etc. And what I'm doing here is I'm measuring 1.2 meters, so I know physically where I'm putting the dabs on the wall, rather than just guessing. Just going to draw a line now. And what I'll do as well, when I'm cutting the boards, I'll measure up and then I just deduct about 20 mils when I'm tiling. It's not that important that you have to go snug up, is it? As you can see, I'm mimicking here, priming the wall, but I've primed the wall with 4:1 PVA to water mix. So 4 water to 1 PVA. And this is me just mixing up the drywall adhesive, which I'm going to put the dobs on the wall with.
Of a new dark age, made more
you can see the floor's been boarded as well, guys. What I will say is if you're going on to like very flat floors like chipboard floors or brand new boarded floors, you can get away with a 6mm notch trowel. Stick your boards down, stagger joint them, and screw down every 6 mils. If the boards are really old, as these ones were, some of these old buildings, you'll find that floorboards are warped and bent and dipped. And when it's like that, I'll just jump up to an 8mm notch to stick the boards down with, and then screw them down every 300 mils. So I'm putting the boards on and just making sure with my spirit level that they are nice and plumb. There's the amount of crap you get out of a bathroom, guys. We did order a skip on this, which has to be pre-done so that you can get a permit off the council. And there's the impy wet deck that's been put into position, and the impy water guard. The mosaics for this, you just dry lay them, cut them, dry lay them, and then glue them in once you're happy. There's Chris fitting the wall hung toilet, and that's the electric underfloor here. You can go down. So for this, we use flex cell underfloor heating kits when we do these. All the stuff's made in Glenrothes in Scotland, so good to know. So the walls have been boarded, the tiling started. I think we were using a 10mm notch trowel when we were doing this, and we were using BAL1 adhesive. Level and compound has gone over the underfloor heating. Make sure that the underfloor heating is always on that screamer, so you know if it gets damaged. And there's a spiky roller. We used Mapai Ultra Plan for this floor. When I want a floor to be really smooth, you know, like when I'm mosaicing it, like in this instance, I would use like Mapai Ultra Plan because you get a really smooth finish. That's a lithophane sealer that we sealed all the marble mosaics with. On the walls that were solid, we didn't put battens on there. We actually just put the tiles up without battens. And there's no job in Edinburgh that you don't get a parking ticket at some point. Ha. So using BAL1 adhesive, it's a high grab adhesive, so you can set your tiles and then you can get them nice and level so that your joints match. There's my guideline through the centre of the floor, so when I'm laying my mosaics I know that I'm not wandering off. And once again, the mosaics went down with BAL1 and a 4mm notch trowel, mosaic trowel. Epoxy resin grouts. For the epoxy resin, guys, I like to use the Mapai because they will colour match any grout. Most grouts, I think like 90% of their grouts, they will colour match, so I can't remember specifically the code, but it was definitely a Mapai grey colour matched epoxy resin, which colour matched with the other grout. So we didn't put epoxy resin everywhere, we just put it on the actual wet deck itself and the surrounding areas. This is me making the little unit for the sink to sit on. Once again, when you're making something like this, use epoxy resin. It really is bomb proof. And that's the overhead, just cutting them out. So for that, we glued the mosaics onto 50mm VD board, and once they would set in, we cut the actual square out, so it's really easier to do than what it looks. And as you can see, there it is, trimmed up with Genesis box trim, and I think we used a granite powder coated trims for this one, if I remember correctly. Once again, epoxy resin. Now when you're washing that stuff off, good tip for you is bucket of warm water, tiniest drop of fairy liquid and half a cup of vinegar, and that really helps get it off. And you usually find once you've grouted it the next day, you can use a cleaner such as Wexer to give it one final clean and get the stickiness off the top of it. That's me putting my trims in, guys. You'll remember that bit from the school where we put a good bit of adhesive on the edge of the tile and then fix your trims in, making sure that they're nice and square. There's Chris drilling for the brackets for the unit, and that's the plumbing, all the pipe work getting fixed into position. Obviously the silicone process is an important one as well, isn't it? You can watch the silicone video that we've done on YouTube as well, guys. There's a unit going into position, good blodge of silicone on the back, on the side, etc. Ready to be drilled the next day. There's the finished bathroom. So all in all, I think this took us 3 weeks. You know, it wasn't your typical standard bathroom installation. There was quite a lot involved with this one. But you know, you just take your time, guys. Make sure you price these things correctly. They are a pain in the arse. They're a lot of hassle. and you need to make sure you get paid accordingly. You know, I hear guys saying they can throw a bathroom in a week, man. That's tough going to keep a standard up, throwing something in a week like that. You see the light strip at the bottom? We got that from Genesis, and that just linked up to the wiring. All wiring as well, guys. I mean, you can run your cables as long as you're under the guidance of an electrician, and he signs it off at the end as well. So all the wires will have to be exposed for you to see to do that, to make sure it's done to standard. And all final electrical connections to the underfloor heating, etc., will be done by a spark, so that the guarantee is valid, so if it ever goes wrong. So I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Just a wee introduction to what is covered in a bathroom rip out refit. If you enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up, leave some comments in the box below, and let us know what other videos you would like to see. Cheers, guys.